So I've been up all night, playing some games, and I honestly did not expect to see Tokyo Ghoul Re Chapter 53 translated today at all. So I get on Twitter, and I see many say, like, Chibi, the chapter's out, Chibi, the chapter's out. So I read the chapter. And we get confirmation that what we thought was going on, for instance, how Kaneki's mother abused him, we get confirmation about that, and that is the truth. So I gotta be real with all of you. I really cannot review this chapter. The reason why, this chapter is emotional for me, because I get attached to series. I really get attached to series, especially Tokyo Ghoul. I'm really attached to this series. This chapter, by far, if you want to take my word for it, by far I think the best chapter. The single best chapter, probably one of the best chapters of Tokyo Ghoul in general. Not just Tokyo Ghoul Re, but Tokyo Ghoul. This is probably one of the best, because this is a game changer. This just changes the very foundation of this series. That is how important this chapter is. And when I see this, it's fucking sad. Like, it is really fucking sad. Like, it's unbelievably sad. Like, if you thought Kaneki had a fucked up life to begin with, and how he spiraled down into tragedy because he became a ghoul, it doesn't just start there. The story we know is not the beginning. The beginning is when Kaneki was with his mother, and his mother abused him. Let's talk about this, since now it is confirmed. What this means is that the boy we knew throughout part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul was not the real Kaneki. It was a boy that was broken and hid his true feelings. He was warped the way he viewed his mother. He tried to hide it away or view it as a dream. He was living in a dream. He wanted to believe that his mother truly loved him, and the abuse she did towards him was actually just her trying to be a loving mother. And to see how this was revealed, and we find out the reason why he is like he is in part 1 as black-haired Kaneki, it adds a whole entire new meaning to the series, because the biggest game changer many think of when they think of Tokyo Ghoul is the chair scene with Jason. Jason torturing Kaneki, and then we see him transform into Shoneki, and that is when the entire spiral of holy shit, this is amazing, just started going. And that's not it. The sad thing is that this boy was already tortured and broken before that ever happened. It's sad how he had to cope, and how he used Rize, the hallucination of Rize, to be able to cope with that, and then put his own mother down, kind of like, you know, how his mother was weak. It's sad, because this implies that Kaneki was kind of thinking stuff like that all along. But he had those thoughts in his mind, but then he pinned it on Rize, his hallucination. It's so sad. The boy we knew was not even Kaneki, the real Kaneki. When people are sitting here saying, I see it constantly in the comments, I want my boy Kaneki back. I want Kaneki back. I want Kaneki back. I want Kaneki back. Get Heise Sasuke out of here. He's a piece of shit. Get Kaneki back. I see that constantly. And when I see that, that makes it sadder, because knowing that that wasn't even Kaneki. The character we know as Kaneki-kin is not really the Kaneki-kin, the true one. The one we know is just a dream. An illusion. I think everybody can understand how fucked up this chapter is. I mean, if you really think about the fundamentals of Tokyo Ghoul with the mother, the aunt, the meaning of the torture, to how Kaneki lived his life, how Jason kind of changed his worldview, and how, you know, he couldn't make a decision, and then, you know, the mother and child. Now seeing this, it makes so much more sense. And then you have it to where we have the inner conversation with Sasaki and Kaneki, And when you see that dialogue, and he's like, I just wanted to die. This is why I cannot review the chapter. I can't. I cannot dive into this chapter. It hurts looking at this chapter. Because I've spent countless hours, and there's probably many out there that's probably spent more hours into Tokyo Ghoul than I have. I've spent so many hours on this series, researching, looking stuff up, coloring thumbnails, piecing thumbnails together, talking with you about Tokyo Ghoul, just so many things. I've spent countless hours on Tokyo Ghoul, and I've gotten really attached to this series, and then when I find out that the entire meaning of the series, part 1, is completely changed, it just makes you speechless. You can't even speak. Like, you don't know what to say. This chapter made part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul 1,000 times better. This single chapter just made everything 1,000 times better, because the foreshadowing with the black goat's egg from chapter 1 to this, chapter 53 of Tokyo Ghoul Re, that's his part 2. This fucking series, man. I'm just casting aside my reviewer right now. I'm just throwing it aside right now. I'm just talking to you. As an individual, as a fan of Tokyo Ghoul, I'm just talking to you as an individual. This fucking series, man. This fucking series is good. Like, in all honesty, I have to say this is one of the best series I think I have ever read. Like, this is one of the best. Because of the writing. The writing is what wins me over here. There is some flaws with TG, sometimes with the artwork and stuff, but the writing of this series is just something to behold, because when you look at also the meaning of this chapter, besides what we see, there's other things too to add on top of this, extra layers of symbolism, or what Ishida was doing behind the scenes. Not many might know this, but this chapter officially comes out in Japan on November 19th. That's when the official chapter comes out. So we've gotten this chapter a couple days early. And knowing that, you probably are wondering, okay, so what's the importance of chapter, or this chapter coming out on November 19th? Well, if you did not know, there is a holiday. There is like a day that kind of is about child abuse, of how parents abuse their childs. That's a holiday. Like, it's a day focusing on child abuse on November 19th. Yeah. Ishida planned this all for this date. For that date to release the chapter. As that doesn't smell like a good writer. Like, if you can't say that person's a good writer because of something like that also, I don't know what else to say. And then also the way the chin on the hand, like the hand on the chin with, how Kaneki was talking at the end of part 1. Just that entire segment has all new meaning as well. Just to see how my boy Kaneki, or Sasuke, wants to fucking die. He wants to die. He wanted to die. Like, when that happened, when he met the Reaper, which is, Arima, he wanted to die. I gotta say, Tokyo Ghoul keeps this shit up. It's going to move into one of my favorite series of all time. If it continues this. It's impressed me over and over constantly. The more I dive into the series, the more I find out about certain elements of the plot, like Hide, to the mother, to the ticks, like scratching, Hide scratching the side of his cheek, to Kaneki and his, hand on his chin, to, Eto, the meaning of the symbolism, to biblical symbolism, just so many things. The more I see of this series, the more I find out about the series, the more I'm just amazed by how Ishida does this. It doesn't even seem like it's humanly possible for one man to be able to do something like this. And one thing I also want to add before I wrap up this video. I truly believe, since Kaneki wanted to cover up his mother and think that she was kind, I think Kaneki killed his mother. In some way, I think he really did. Maybe not on purpose, maybe accidental, but I think maybe Kaneki might have killed his mother in the past. I don't think we know the true story of really how Kaneki's mother died. Overwork. It doesn't honestly sound like that would be the case after what we just found out. So, either Kaneki killed his mother, or his mother, I think, might have committed suicide. One or the other, because I think there's more to the story than what we have been led to believe, since Kaneki has been in a dream the entire time, and seeing how this was done with this chapter, I also think that. So, tell me your thoughts on that as well. I mean, how do you all feel about that? Like, do you think that Kaneki might have indirectly or directly have killed his mother? Do you think that the overworked death, like how she overworked and died, do you think that really is the truth, or do you think there's more to it? Since now, we really can't trust Kaneki's memories, from what we know of. Like, we can't really trust his entire memory now, because of what we just witnessed. But I'm done. I'm sorry, this chapter is just way too fucking emotional for me. It really is. Looking at the chapter is just saddening, for many reasons. Personal reasons as well, but just, this chapter is very sad. And so, tell me your thoughts. How do you all feel about this chapter? How do you all feel about seeing Kaneki finally waking up from his dream? How do you feel about Eto revealing her face to Sasaki, Karen, and Tsukiyama Shu? How do you feel about that? And how do you feel about Furuta doing some shady shit, killing his own fellow investigator, proving that he is definitely the mole or Sota? I'm done. If I don't feel as emotional as I do next week, I'll cover this chapter as well. But you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.